Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live, local, 5 days a week look into all things Oakland County. Today, we'll be talking to children's advocates, business experts, and more about topics interesting and important to people like you right here in Oakland County. Let's get into today's headlines on our website at civiccentertv.com on our local news page. Our top story today is from Christina Hall at the Detroit Free Press. Monkeypox is declared a U.S. public health emergency. Here's where Michigan cases currently stand. As federal health officials declared the monkeypox virus a public health emergency in the United States on Thursday. Here's where cases and vaccines stand in the Great Lakes state. Michigan recorded 66 cases of monkeypox in 11 of its 83 counties, according to data Wednesday on the state's Department of Health and Human Services website. On Friday, the case had just 37 cases. That's a week ago on Friday. The state on Wednesday said it had recorded 17 cases in the city of Detroit, 12 here in Oakland County, 9 in Wayne County outside of the city of Detroit, 8 in Macomb County, 7 in Kent County, 4 in Ingham County, in the Lansing area, and 3 in Washtenaw County. Additionally, there were 2 cases in Ottawa County and 1 case each in Ionia, St. Clair, Livingston, and Macomb counties. The nation has recorded more than 6,600 cases as of Wednesday, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This week, President Joe Biden announced the White House's new National Monkeypox Response Coordinator and Deputy Coordinator. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said during a briefing on Thursday with federal health officials that they expect cases to continue to rise as people have more access to testing. Cases may be rising now because of more widely available testing in addition to the potential of more infections. Globally, there are 26,000 cases having been reported in 87 countries, 80 of which have not historically reported monkeypox in the past. The World Health Organization declared monkeypox a global health emergency on July 23rd. In terms of vaccine availability in Michigan, it will be receiving 14,500 doses of the Jynneos vaccine, said Chelsea Wuth, a spokesperson at the state's health department. The Jynneos vaccine is a 2-dose regimen authorized for use against smallpox and monkeypox that can prevent infection in people who have been exposed and limit severity of symptoms for those already infected. Symptoms can include a fever, headache, swollen lymph nodes, a muscle ache, sore throat, and a rash that can look like pimples or blisters, that according to the CDC. The CDC also recommends administering the vaccine within 4 days of the date of exposure for the best chance to prevent the onset of the disease. If the vaccine is given between 4 and 14 days after exposure, it may reduce the symptoms of the disease, but may not prevent the disease altogether, according to the agency. Wuth said Michigan recently was allocated about 10,460 doses of vaccine by the CDC, with 4,180 doses available in the first wave and another 3,138 in a second wave beginning on August 15th. The remaining 3,138 doses will be in the third wave, with the timing still to be determined, she said. Wuth said Michigan has received slightly more than 7,600 doses of the vaccine as of Thursday of this week. State health officials previously said doses of the Jynneos vaccine have been distributed to hubs in Detroit, as well as in Oakland, Washtenaw, Kent, Kalamazoo, Ingham, Genesee, and Grand Traverse counties. Those vaccines can be redistributed as needed across the state over time. Wuth said 416 people have received the Jynneos vaccine as of Tuesday morning of this week. She said the health department statewide does not have a county-by-county breakdown of vaccine administered at this current juncture. Quote, "It is important to note that we don't have real-time data for vaccine administered and that there's a slight lag in administration data being reported due to the state health department," she said. Here is where in the Detroit area to get your vaccine. The city is offering vaccines to city residents who have been exposed to the monkeypox virus or those who suspect that they may have been exposed. That is in the physical city of Detroit, not just availability in the city, but just for those that are residents living in the city of Detroit and can prove residency. The city health department said last week it is offering the Jynneos vaccine at the Wayne HIV STI clinic at 50 Canfield from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on the first and third Saturdays of the month, as well as at the health department office at 100 Mack Avenue. That is from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. The vaccine will be used as first doses during initial allocations from the state health department. They will be given out to prevent development of the virus in people who have been exposed to monkeypox and the people with risk factors such as risk behaviors, in geographies, settings, or events or venues with known monkeypox virus transmission in the previous 14 days. That according to a release from the city. Also making headlines on our local news page on civiccentertv.com from the Detroit News' Jennifer Chambers. The firm in the Huron River chemical release was issued a cease and desist order. The company that released a hazardous chemical into the Huron River system this week has been issued a cease and desist order. That is according to state officials as of Wednesday. The city of Wixom issued a notice to the Tri-Bar manufacturing facility on Monday or Tuesday. A representative of the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, otherwise known as EGLE, told the Detroit News. Tri-Bar Technologies described on its website as a, quote, leading provider of innovative technology-enabled decorative trim solutions, and closed quote, has multiple plants in the Oakland County community. EGLE referred questions on the company's status to Wixom officials who did not immediately respond as of Wednesday night. Representatives for Tri-Bar also did not respond to inquiries for quotes. Hexavalent chromium was discharged to a sanitary sewer system from the Tri-Bar plant over the weekend and routed to the Wixom wastewater treatment facility. The chemical is a known carcinogen that can cause several adverse health effects through ingestion, skin contact, or inhalation. On Wednesday, EGLE sampled 9 locations with results expected on Thursday of this week that have already been submitted to track the pollutant's location as it moves downstream, according to officials. The wastewater is discharged to Norton Creek, which flows into the Huron River system. Results of the first 2 tests taken on Tuesday at the mouth of the Norton Creek and on the Huron River just downstream from Norton Creek did not detect the presence of hexavalent chromium, according to state officials. State officials said the 2 samples are not sufficient to draw conclusions about the effects of the pollutants on the Huron River watershed, and they are just the first 2 data points in what will be a lengthy testing process. The agency and its watershed partners are developing a testing plan for the coming weeks, that according to state officials. Investigators on Wednesday also met with officials from Tri-Bar in Wixom, where the release occurred, to collect information about how the release happened and other details that may help regulators better protect the public. State officials said one goal is to better define the volume or amount of liquid containing 5% hexavalent chromium that was discharged to the sanitary sewer system from Tri-Bar over the weekend and routed to the Wixom wastewater treatment facility. The affected area is in the Huron River between North Wixom in Oakland County and Kensington Roads in Livingston County, according to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, EGLE, as well as local officials. EGLE officials said Tri-Bar notified them at 3:21 p.m. on Monday that it had released several thousand gallons of a liquid containing 5% hexavalent chromium into the sewer system. The company said that although it discovered the release on Monday, the release could have started as early as Saturday morning. Quote, this is a significant release into a large, much-loved waterway, and close quote, said Leslie Clark, EGLE director. In a statement on Wednesday, she continued on by saying, quote, our teams are in the field now assessing the situation. We will stay on the job as long as it takes to ensure residents are safe and the impacts to the ecosystem are minimalized, and closed quote. Also affected by the spill are Norton Creek downstream of the Wixom wastewater treatment plant, Hubble Pond, also known as Mill Pond, as well as Kent Lake. Residents are asked not to swim, wade, or drink water from the Huron River. It is also advised not to water plants or your lawns with water from the river. Fish caught from this section of the Huron River should not be consumed. The development prompted Huron-Clinton Metro Parks officials to close beaches and boat rental at Kensington Metro Park near Milford until further notice. Finally, making headlines on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page today from Justine Lofton at MLive. The Farmer's Almanac is predicting a quote, unreasonably cold and snowy, and close quote, winter for the Great Lakes region. The Farmer's Almanac has released its winter weather forecast earlier than ever. The prediction for the Great Lakes region, unreasonably cold and snowy. While MLive meteorologist Mark Torregrosso will be keeping readers updated on the real-time winter 2022-23 forecast as it develops, you can, of course, follow up-to-date forecasts from many journalistic outlets on TV, radio, and print, including MLive. It's always fun to see what other prediction spots are saying about Michigan, since this state is so well known for our winter weather, as well as our unpredictable weather. So one prediction can be very different from the other, which can be very different from another, and of course, very different from reality. The Almanac has released annual extended weather forecasts since 1818 to help people, particularly farmers, prepare for each season of the year. The overall prediction, the Almanac is expecting winter of 2022 and 23 to include, quote, plenty of shaking, shivering, and shoveling. Say that 10 times fast throughout the United States. Quote, the real shivers might send people in the Great Lakes areas hibernating, in close quote, the Almanac said in a news release. However, the Great Lakes region won't have it as bad as the north central states, which are forecast to experience extreme cold during mid-January with possible temperatures of up to 40 degrees below zero. Yeah, got you there. The Farmer's Almanac 2023 offers 16 months of weather predictions from September of 2022 through December of 2023. It hits shelves on August 15th. Steve Lato on My Michigan TV had a whole segment he did about this earlier on in the week. If you missed that, mymitv.com, mymitv.com, to find that on demand. And of course, his live shows Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 1 o'clock on My Michigan TV. He did a whole segment on this. He went into some more details about the Farmer's Almanac, kind of some of the history, some of his experiences, getting weather predictions from the Farmer's Almanac. Really interesting stuff he had there. Again, that's the Steve Lato show. It's Steve Lato live, noon to 1 every day, Monday through Friday on My Michigan TV. All those headlines today making news on our website, civiccentertv.com, as well as those helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and locally from the Oakland County Health Division on our local news page. We have a great program ahead on this Friday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Up next, I'll be joined by Cindy Cohen from Kids Kicking Cancer, followed by Detroit Venture Partners, Gabe Karp. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast. My apologies. Our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. To learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the program is Cindy Cohen. She is joining us from Kids Kicking Cancer. And Cindy, thank you very much for joining us on today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, tell us a little bit about the background of your organization. What is Kids Kicking Cancer, and what are some of the services that it provides right here in Michigan?
Sure, absolutely. So our organization, Kids Kicking Cancer, and our Heroes Circle was founded right here in Metro Detroit in 1999. And it was founded with taking therapeutic martial arts and utilizing with children that were diagnosed with cancer. And our founder, Rabbi Elimelech Goldberg, really discovered the connection that children have, that mind-body connection, using the martial arts to empower and to heal and to really help them as a coping mechanism through their treatments. So we began with a pilot program at Children's Hospital of Michigan in 1999 with 10 kids, and we are now expanded throughout Michigan, the U.S., and throughout countries across the globe.
We're joined by Cindy Cohen, the Global Program Director of Kids Kicking Cancer, a shared Detroit-supported charity and nonprofit, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. And so the entire basis of this program is based in martial arts therapy, as it's called on your website. So where did the decision come to have martial arts be the vehicle for this kind of therapy for children?
Sure. Our founder, Rabbi Goldberg, was also a black belt in martial arts. And he was the one that first discovered, in utilizing the techniques of martial arts, he was able to really reach kids, and the kids were able to really connect with the idea of that martial arts power. So the idea of taking martial arts and turning it around from a contact sport to a therapeutic modality where kids are able to empower themselves, breathe in light, blow out darkness. They're able to defeat whatever challenges come to them. So they're not fighting other people. There's no body-body contact, no sparring. They're fighting whatever those challenges externally are for them. So maybe it's cancer, maybe it's their sibling, and maybe it's the sibling's cancer. Maybe it is, as our program grew and has included many other illnesses. We have kids with sickle cell and hemophilia and GI issues, organ transplants, pain, chronic pain issues. So our Hero Circle classes incorporate all of those. So the idea of utilizing the therapeutic martial arts skills to overcome the challenges in their lives. The kids are learning punches, kicks, blocks. They're really taking in those mind-body breathing techniques to overcome and to be able to help themselves cope through whatever, whether it be painful procedures or scary times or just uncertainty in what's happening around them. The martial arts has been a vehicle to really help empower and heal kids.
We're joined by Cindy Cohen, the Global Program Director at Kids Kicking Cancer, one of hundreds of charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. You can find them in a couple of different places. Find them on sharedetroit.org for more information. That's sharedetroit.org. You go to their website, and there you will be able to navigate through their Find a Nonprofit. Just search Kids Kicking Cancer, and you'll find their website. You'll find more information. You'll find some wish lists as well to help them in many different ways. And so, Cindy, can you tell us about the Heroes Circle program? It's one of many programs offered by Kids Kicking Cancer. Can you tell us about what this specific program does for these kids that are involved?
Sure. So through our Hero Circle program, our kids are able to take the therapeutic martial arts And as I talked about, empower themselves and overcome whatever challenges are going on in their lives. But through this, as our kids become more empowered, they also become teachers. So you'll often see our kids that will be out teaching executives or teaching, it might be camp counselors, it might be teaching stressed out, schools stressed out, people in life that just need help managing stress and anxiety in their own lives. So our kids are able to go in there, they're able to teach their breath work, their relaxation techniques, and they're able to explain and teach to others how it is that they overcome the challenges of the physical illnesses in their lives by using the therapeutic martial arts techniques that they've learned, and how anybody can also learn those techniques. So you'll see our techniques are used with, we have a school-based program, and techniques are used there for kids that are dealing with stressors of school and anxiety that goes on with that. And the kids are still able to breathe in the light and blow out the darkness. Adults are able to breathe in the light and blow out the darkness and take control and bring back and really center themselves to cope with whatever's happening around them. So our kids learn and they also teach. And our Hero Circle programs consist of, we work with kids in hospitals, we work with kids in the community, we work with kids one-on-one. Throughout COVID, we really learned the power of virtual like the rest of the world. And our classes are now offered 7 days a week across the globe virtually for children and their siblings to come on, work with martial artists, utilize these techniques and help themselves through whatever challenges that their illnesses bring them.
More information can be found on kidskickingcancer.org. That's kidskickingcancer.org, or on sharedetroit.org, where you can also learn more about 298 other charities and nonprofits in the Metro Detroit area served on the Share Detroit platform. Kids Kicking Cancer can be found again, kidskickingcancer.org. And as you said, your services are provided all over the world through Kids Kicking Cancer. But locally in the state of Michigan, what hospital systems or hospitals specifically does your program visit to interact with these kids and get them into the Kids Kicking Cancer program?
Sure, that's a great question, Tyler. So we are in Children's Hospital of Michigan. Our martial artists are actually now back in the hospitals. We were on hiatus for the 2 years of COVID, but we have martial artists there now seeing kids in clinics and in the hospital rooms, working in partnership with the social work and child life staff to decide which kids would most be able to be helped by our program. So we're at Children's Hospital of Michigan. We work with kids at Beaumont Children's Hospital. We work with kids at Mott Children's Hospital, work with kids at St. John Hospital. We work with kids partnering through other organizations such as Gilda's Club, Cancer Support Community. So those are some of our local locations where we work with kids and families. We have classes in non-COVID times. We've had classes at St. Joseph Mercy Oakland and at McLaren Macomb as well in the Wabi Cancer Center.
And so, Cindy, who are the martial arts therapists that are supporting these kids? And what's their background as they're coming in? What sort of training are they providing to these kids through martial arts?
That's another great question, Tyler. So our black belt our martial artists come to us as black belts. That is a requirement. They come to us, and then we train them. And we have a very comprehensive training in the therapeutic martial arts. So we take that traditional martial arts and we kind of turn it upside down, because there is no contact and there is no sparring and none of those, no board breaking, none of that occurs. But we have an extensive online training that our martial artists go through, and they learn about therapeutic martial arts. They learn about our techniques. They learn about the psychosocial needs of children and families that are dealing with illness. And how does it affect a child? How does it affect their sibling? How does it affect parents and grandparents? We teach them about illness and teach them about loss and teach them about different coping skills and how our interventions can help with all of these. We also train them about working in hospitals and boundaries and confidentiality, so that we take all of our online training, and then our martial artists will apprentice with our current martial artists that we have. We have a chief martial arts therapist, Richard Plowden, who's been very strong in the martial arts world for, I'm going to get this wrong, Sensei Richard, but some between 30 and 40 years that he's been out there, a leader in the martial arts world. We have senior martial arts therapists that are very involved with our training as well. So the martial artists go through an online training, then they apprentice with our current martial artists, and we have different steps that they go through to be able to be checked off and make sure that they are able to successfully deliver our program as well. Once that all happens and they start teaching and we've checked them off, then if they go into hospitals, they also go through hospital orientation. So there's quite a training that goes on to work with our program.
We're joined by Cindy Cohen, the Global Program Director at Kids Kicking Cancer, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information can be found in 2 different places. On ShareDetroit.org, where they're one of 299 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Go to their Find a Nonprofit section and search for Kids Kicking Cancer, or go directly to their website at kidskickingcancer.org. That's kidskickingcancer.org. And Sydney, as kids are in the hospital, certainly certain hospital systems, the children's hospitals, where Kids Kicking Cancer is heavily involved, it's easy for them to go around and get kids into the program or bring kids into the program. But for others, how do they get involved in Kids Kicking Cancer if they're interested, or if their child is, for instance, maybe in a hospital system that's not directly involved in the program?
Sure. Well, an easy way, you can always go to our website, kidskickingcancer.org. You will also see coming up, we're going through a branding change, and our website will actually switch to heroescircle.org, but everything will transfer over, so whichever one you go to will work. You can also email us at programs, programs, at kidskickingcancer.org, and we can get your child signed up that way. If you go to our website, there's an online registration form that can be filled out. Again, there's no cost to join our program. We do ask for a physician release only so that we can know what limitations a child might have. All of our classes and programming is adaptable. So our martial artists work with kids in wheelchairs. They work with kids that have balance issues and all kinds of challenges, and our martial artists can adapt. So once again, our website, kidskickingcancer.org, or email directly at programs@kidskickingcancer.org.
We're joined by Cindy Cohen, the Global Program Director at Kids Kicking Cancer, joining us on the Megacast. That's kidskickingcancer.org. kidskickingcancer.org. And Cindy, in addition to being the Global Program Director of this organization, you're also the author of 3 books to help children cope with parental illness or death or even their own illness. Can you tell us about some of these books and how writing these books and being involved with this journey is kind of a culmination of your career?
Sure, absolutely. So my background prior to coming to Kids Kicking Cancer, and actually currently, my background is in what's called child life. So I'm a certified child life specialist. I've gone to graduate school. I am certified in that field. And what it is working with children and families and really helping cope with anything, illness, loss, those types of things that go on in a healthcare type of a journey. And throughout that time, I saw a need for books on the subject of helping a child when a parent was diagnosed with cancer. So we have a book called My Mommy's Cancer, and then another one, My Daddy's Cancer, to help a child, to help them go through what are the things that a child feels, how can, as parents, as caregivers, as teachers, as people in the child's life that are concerned, how can they help them? So those 2 books are related to that subject, helping prepare a child, helping a child go through and really come out, and ideally come out on the other side, still being strong and having those coping mechanisms and such. And then another book, a 3rd book, My Daddy's Cancer, and that's related to grief and loss and the idea of a child that goes through the process of losing a parent, though the book is really able to be used, as I've been told, the book has been selling for 20 plus years. And as I've been told, the book is used for really a loss in any form throughout a family, and really going through those concepts and helping the child to understand what are the things they might feel, what are the ways that we can help, and helping to normalize things, helping to give kids the tools that they need, that they can cope, and that they can become and continue on a healthy journey, and ways to communicate with their parents or their teachers or their grandparents or again, concerned loved ones in their lives. Keeping that dialogue and that communication open is so important.
Cindy, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate Cindy joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. It's Cindy Cohen from Kids Kicking Cancer. We'll take a break on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, conflict in the office, conflict at home, conflict out in the community, when it's good, when it's bad, and how you can make conflict work best for you. That's coming up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Gabe Karp. He is a partner at Detroit Venture Partners and also the author of Don't Get Mad at Penguins and Other Ways to Detox the Conflict in Your Life and Business. Joining us now on the Megacast. Gabe, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you as well. Appreciate having you on the program. So first off, can you just give us a little bit of your background and how you got into your current work, how you became an author? I understand you began your career as a trial lawyer.
Yes, that was a long way away from where I am now. But began my career as a trial lawyer. Never planned to go into business or anything like that. I was a litigator, so I was in court quite often. Did a lot of commercial litigation, which is what I call business divorce, and also some legal malpractice work. So our firm was suing other lawyers for screwing up, which if you think about a lawsuit being contentious, those lawsuits were super contentious. But it was great. It was great training. I mean, imagine someone who cross-examines people for a living and who hates you. And you learn a lot about anger and how the energy can flow in a room and in a dialogue, and how to, at the time, if someone was angry with me, I tried to get them even more angry. I tried to get them as angry as I possibly could because it would just work to my advantage. And I was a litigator for about 10 years and then left the private practice law and joined a small startup, which was a whole other story that would take too long to get into now, but joined a small startup, maybe about 20 people or so when I joined. And we grew pretty fast to over 500 people. And while I first started out as the legal guy, pretty soon I was taking on lots of non-legal responsibilities, operations teams, and working with lots of leaders and helping grow other leaders in the company. And we started throwing off some cash. So we started to look for other companies to acquire. And I headed up those efforts and did the M&A stuff on those. And then we'd acquire companies and integrate them. And throughout that entire process, throughout being a lawyer and then working in business, anytime I would look backwards, maybe 6 months or a year, to try to inventory how I had been spending my time, I was always gravitating toward conflict. It used to be I was trying to create conflict and mix it up and stir it up. But then in business, I was seeking out conflict, rooting out conflict to figure out where the friction points were so that we could eliminate them and just be more efficient and grow faster. And the same patterns of conflict I saw in litigation were recurring in business and in personal lives too. So it wasn't the only common denominator was human beings working with one another, dealing with issues. And I started getting pattern recognition where I'd run into a problem and I'd say, wait a second, I've been in this situation before. It was different people, different dates, different facts, but it's the same structure of a problem. It's the same anatomy of the problem. And I started working on some tools to resolve them. And the great thing is that the same tools that can resolve conflict in a lawsuit or in a really difficult issue dealing with a client can be applied in any walk of life. And it doesn't matter if you're in the boardroom or in the courtroom or in the break room or in the parent-teacher conference or the bar or the Thanksgiving dinner table with a drunk, angry uncle spouting off about politics. It's the same patterns and the same tools. And then we sold our company. It was a successful exit. And since then, I've been into venture capital and working with the CEOs of companies that I'm on the boards of and seeing the same patterns over and over again. Only now I've got a pretty full portfolio of mistakes that I've made in the past. So I can see those patterns, and CEO tells me that something's going on and I say, oh yeah, I did that. I screwed that one up really bad. So I can certainly tell you, don't do what I did. maybe try this instead. And it's just really interesting to me how all of these things kind of come full circle. And again, same patterns. And I have sort of identified what I call toxins in conflict. And these are things that naturally occur in human interaction, anger, fear, judgment, ego. And in the right amounts, those things are great. They drive progress. They cause us to fix things that are broken. They help us avoid problems. But if those elevate too much or they get too low, they become toxic, and the conflict becomes toxic. So I like focusing on detoxing the conflict and then taking the healthy conflict and leveraging it to drive success. And if you think about it, probably any time in your life that you feel that you really grew from an experience or that you benefited from it, that was you working through conflict in a healthy way. Or maybe it didn't work out well for you, since you got from that, put you in a much better position to deal with a similar conflict in the future in a far better way.
So, Gabe, when you mention good conflict, so often when people discuss the idea of a conflict being in place in any environment, it has this negative connotation. But like you said, there are certain kinds of conflict that can be very constructive in many different environments. Can you define what is good conflict and how to recognize that, okay, there's a conflict in my work situation, in my family situation, in my social life, but this is good. This can build something better in this relationship.
Yeah, sure. One premise to that question is that conflict is inevitable. And one of the myths out there, the common misconceptions, is that conflict is a bad thing and should be avoided. So I would say anyone who tries to avoid conflict is trying to avoid the inevitable. And that usually makes it worse. When you avoid a small conflict now because it's uncomfortable, that will allow it to fester and grow and develop into a much bigger conflict that's going to hit you eventually. So I would say this: most conflict comes from a difference of opinion or a difference in goals between people or groups or teams. And to me, that's a good thing. To recognize those differences and to be able to work through them allows you to pick the best solution, because no one person has all the answers. And everyone can benefit from a contrary viewpoint. And the ability to hear that viewpoint, to make your viewpoint known to someone who disagrees with you, allows both sides to come up with something that has collective benefit for everyone involved. So let's get specific. Let's say there's a leader who has an underperforming team member on their team, and they've got some harsh feedback to give that person. Tell that person things that they is not going to want to hear because it's going to make them feel bad. And as a result, the leader says, well, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to hurt that person's feelings. So the leader withholds the feedback to avoid the conflict. But that's not avoiding conflict. That's just allowing someone who is doing something wrong or could be doing something better to improve to continue making mistakes. That's not respectful. That's disrespectful. That's mean. That's like actually a cruel thing to do to another human being. Take a really simple example. If right before I came on this show, I was talking to someone and I had food in my teeth, like spinach in my teeth, and the person looking at me just didn't say anything and allowed me to come on here, like that'd be mean. That's something I want to know. So healthy conflict is the kind of conflict where a leader can sit down with someone and say, listen, we've got a bit of a conflict here, but I want you to be aware of these things so that you can improve. And if you improve, then the team improves. And if the team improves, the company improves, and it's all good.
And what can be difficult in the heat of the moment in a conflict or in a discussion that can get a little bit heated because there is a conflict in opinion or a conflict in philosophy, or certainly if there's a conflict in the perceived execution of something in a business sense, there can be this difficulty to take a step back, identify the situation you're in, and try to find the best route out for everybody involved, and identify what you have marked as those toxins. What's some advice or some strategies that you have for taking that step back and identifying in this conflict what are these toxins and then how do we address them to turn this conflict into something positive like we just spoke about?
Sure. Yeah. Great question. As far as the toxins are concerned, there are quite a few, but I found that 4 account for the vast majority of conflicts that I've experienced and witnessed: anger, fear, judgment, and ego. And when those things, when people don't have enough of them or they have too much of them, those are the toxins, and they create the conflict. But you also, at the beginning of your question, you touched on something that's really important, and that is, in the moment, it's hard because we kind of get triggered inside, like we get amped up. And there are really good reasons for that. And it's very helpful to understand that. I mean, it's nature and nurture. We are socialized from a young age to shy away from conflict. We sugarcoat feedback. We soften bad news. Our parents told us, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That creates this sign that if we ever express a contrary opinion or openly disagree with somebody, we're kind of we're going against, we're sort of violating the rules that we were taught as a child. So we just don't want to do that. And in addition to that, we've got physiological aspects of our body that have developed over the millennia. You're talking about billions of years of evolution that have secured the survival and growth of the human species to protect against threats. And when we're confronted with a physical threat in the wild, we have a fight or flight response. And that does things like takes our thinking offline. When our ancestors faced a saber-toothed tiger, when they came out of the cave, they didn't have time to think or reason. They just had to react, and it had to be instinctive and reactive. So great. But those instincts are today. So when I'm in a meeting and someone says something and I feel maybe personally attacked or judged in a way, I'll start to feel the physiological effects of conflict. Like the hair on the back of my neck will stand up. My breathing and heart rate may increase. And those are signs. Those physiological symptoms are signs that something's going on and taking you into some toxic situation. So one piece of advice I have, and it's not like you can just flip a switch. You can't just turn that off. But what you can do is think about it in advance. And when that happens, identify the moment when you've got those physiological responses to conflict. And maybe at first you identifying it in real time, but you will immediately afterwards. I always tell people, like, have you ever come up with the perfect thing to say in an argument only an hour after the argument ended? And everyone says, yeah. And the reason is that your access to the thinking part of your brain had been shut down during that conflict. So if that ever happens, think back to that moment, because it won't have been that long ago. And you can say, you know what? I kind of get a sense of how I react in those situations. And the next time it happens and you say, oh, wait, I feel like my breathing's getting rapid, or I realize I don't like how this person's talking to me. I don't feel as in control of my thoughts and my words right now. If you can take literally just one breath and hold that space for a second or two, that's enough to disrupt that instinctive response and pull yourself into intellectual awareness. And that gives you power and control. And then there are a number of different tools you can employ to use them. But that first step it's not easy at first, but it's not that hard. And if you do it 3 or 4 times, the learning curve is pretty sharp. So you get much better after your third time of doing it than you did after your first.
We're joined by Gabe Karp, partner at Detroit Venture Partners. He's also an author of the book, Don't Get Mad at Penguins, Detox the Conflict in Your Life and Business for Success and Happiness. It's Don't Get Mad at Penguins and Other Ways to Detox the Conflict in Your Life and Business. More information on his website, gabekarp.com/book. That's gabekarp with a K.com/book. penguins.com/book. And so, Gabe, I do want to ask you about the title. Don't Get Mad at Penguins is the main title of this, and it also has the subtitle and other ways to detox the conflict in your life and business. But where does the origin? Yes. Where does the origin? What's the origin? What's the purpose of Don't Get Mad at Penguins? Where does that come from?
Well, I think it's best to think of a saying. And I made this up, but I say it in a way that makes me sound like some wise old sage. But it's between expectation and reality is a space filled with suffering and conflict. And the wider that space becomes, the greater our suffering is. And the penguin analogy is really a lesson in acceptance. We should accept people with their limitations and all, and not expect them to do things that they're not capable, even though we may really, really want them to. And one of the challenges with that is that it's oftentimes really hard to see someone's limitations, especially if everything else we know about them suggests that they're not limited. So take a penguin, for example. What do you mean a penguin can't fly? It's a bird. It's got wings. It's got feathers. And birds with wings and feathers can fly, except that penguins can't. Flight is simply beyond their ability, despite the fact that everything else we know about them suggests that they should be able to. And we can choose to get mad at that, or we can accept it. And that analogy, you can apply it to interaction and people that you deal with on a regular basis. And whatever the facts are, when you find that you are continually getting frustrated or angry or even fearful of someone in a similar situation over and over again because they're not behaving in a way that you want them to, it's very possible that that person is not making a choice. They're not doing it on purpose. The thing that you want them to do is beyond their ability.
Joined by Gabe Karp, partner at Detroit Venture Partners and author of Don't Get Mad at Penguins and Other Ways to Detox the Conflict in Your Life and Business, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on his website, gabekarp.com/book. That's Gabe Karp with a K.com/book. And Gabe, if people are interested in picking up a copy of Don't Get Mad at Penguins, where can they find your book online and even in some stores?
As my publisher says, the book is available everywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart, Target, Google. There's also an audiobook narrated by me. James Earl Jones wasn't available. And that's available on Audible, audiobooks.com, Apple, and a number of other platforms. So if you Google Don't Get Mad at Penguins, you'll see all the results you need to order it. Okay. And it's a great it's a quick read, and I'd say it's a great investment for a few bucks. You can get a new perspective on something you've probably been dealing with for a long time.
Yeah, take a couple of the pieces of advice from Gabe in today's program and expand on that with a full book of that sage advice. Gabe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Appreciate having you on, Gabe, and look forward to reading your book, Don't Get Mad at Penguins, and Other Ways to Detox the Conflict in Your Life and Business. Appreciate you joining us and talking about that very interesting subject matter. That is going to do it for the Oakland County Megacast. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll continue on with the Michigan Megacast on your radio homes for the program, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I will step away. Dave Scott will come in and take over on the Michigan Megacast. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Kick off the Michigan Megacast with Dave.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
And welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. My name is Dave Scott, in for Tyler Kieft today. It's really good to be with you. We've got a great hour lined up here on the Michigan Megacast today. Joining us is Tim Hygh, the Executive Director of the Mackinac Island Tourism Bureau. After we have a chance to chat with Tim, we keep the tourism focus by checking in with Otie McKinley, the Media and Communications Manager at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. We'll talk a little tourism and a little bit of Michigan business as well. Again, Tyler is off today. Good to be with you. I'm actually broadcasting from my home today with some really unique lighting here. So kind of fun. And it's just all a part of this crazy, amazing technology that we have. And guy is able to leverage a lot of technology, even though he spends his whole summer at a place where the only way you get around is with the help of a horse, is our good friend, Tim Hygh, the Executive Director of the Mackinac Island Tourism Bureau. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Good morning, David. You know, you look like you're in the tunnel between the A and the B portals at the Detroit airport.
Well, I don't know what this is. He just came up with some weird lighting for me to try to make my my apartment, which isn't decorated with much elegance, look a little bit better for TV. But great to see that beautiful picture of my favorite place in the state of Michigan, Mackinac Island, right behind you. And when I heard that Tyler wasn't going to be here today and I saw you on the calendar, I was excited because good to be with you, my friend.
Likewise, Dave. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Some of the biggest tourism news this summer came from a recognition that you were able to travel to New York to receive. Tell everybody what I'm talking about.
Well, the Travel and Leisure magazine, which is the Bible of travel, they always do ratings every year, and it's the best. It's called the world's best. And Mackinac Island was named the #1 island in the continental United States. And that's just amazing. And it's just great affirmation for us Dave, as you know, we don't have any flag type of properties here. There's no Marriotts or no Hiltons. And so it's really nice to be affirmed by a national organization. And this is going to get people's attention. This is going to be good for Pure Michigan. This is going to be good for the island. This is going to be good for the Straits of Mackinac, for all of northern Michigan. And it just keeps Pure Michigan in the limelight around the entire country.
Well, it's great news. And I was sitting there thinking, and I didn't really prepare for today's interview a whole lot. But I was sitting there thinking about what are the other islands that you must have been competing with? And you think about the United States and our tourism destinations. Some of our best tourism destinations are islands. So that's a very impressive award that we received.
It really is. I'm trying to remember all the islands. I should know this by heart by now, but Kiowa Island, the islands in Florida, Nantucket, all sorts of different places.
Yeah, I think of on the East Coast, I think of Block Island, another good one
sure.
that a lot of people travel to. Everything up along the coast up by Maine, and then everything out on the West Coast, and down by the Florida Keys. You've got a ton of islands.
Yeah, and Mackinac's #1. And then with that, then they did the world ranking, and Mackinac Island's number 23 in the entire world, the entire planet. Isn't that amazing?
For those of us in Michigan, going to Mackinac Island is a tradition, and more people should go, but so many of us do. But how many people, I don't know, you need a specific number, but do we see a lot of people traveling from the rest of the United States and the rest of the world to Mackinac Island?
Yes, I would say probably 60 to 65% of the people that come to Mackinac Island are from Michigan. And then the majority of the rest are from the Midwest. But prior to the pandemic, we were really picking up steam in China, certainly Germany and Great Britain. And those are offices, those are also places where Pure Michigan and the MEDC have offices as well and help market us. But you hear accents here all the time, and accents that are ones that I don't even recognize. They're not Germanic, or they're not from the Romantic languages and stuff that
right.
you've never heard in your life. So we are, and then plus our employees are from all over the world as well. So we are really a diverse culture here on Mackinac Island.
Well, no question about it. And, I think a big part of what makes Mackinac Island unique is the transportation to Mackinac Island. It's part of your logo. Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Well, it's so nice that in 1895, some brilliant person said, we don't want cars on Mackinac Island. And actually, it was done for horse safety. The horses didn't like them. So, okay, we'll keep our horses safe. But guess what? In the meantime, on this magical place that people since time immemorial have known that this is a place to get respite, you put those two together and with no cars. And now we've got one of the greatest marketing tools that you could ask for. And it makes us very unique, but it also slows things down so you can really enjoy yourself. I always used to say before I worked here, this is one place where the minute you walk off the boat, your blood pressure will drop 20 points. Now, mine goes up 20 points every day, but that's for different reasons.
Yeah, well, I got a watch. It's broken that I took and I relabeled it and I put island time on it, because it is true. You step on the island, things do run a little bit slower, and because you can't get places quick, and that's okay. That's actually one of the great things about Mackinac Island.
It's okay. Yeah. Now we've got these historic districts, so that will keep Mackinac the same. But up in the sky, Dave, as you know, there's so much going on up there right now. So we still have the modern amenities that you need or want while you're here, so that you can get your business done, get your work done, but then you'll also be able to have a great time the minute you're done.
Well, you've got a great physical representation now of the evolution of the island and new amenities right at one of the landmarks of the island, the Grand Hotel. Under new ownership now, they have taken a new approach to some degree, still the tradition that we all enjoy. I think they've really done a good job of mixing the tradition, but, recognizing that it is a tourist destination and tourists want to have a really nice pool experience, and the Grand Hotel has modified their pool environment, but made a huge investment in what is one of the most magnificent pools I've ever seen anywhere.
It's still amazing to me 2 years later how they got it done, because they built it over the wintertime. And we know that Mackinac Island winters are not easy, transportation wise, weather wise. But they put $10 million into a new pool, and it's stunning. They're adding an activity park, which is just opened this year with putt-putt, and is soon to have a BMX bike trail. And it's just a great family place. And they're really turning it into, once you're at Grand Hotel, you probably don't have to leave the property if you don't want to. There are plenty of amenities to keep you and the entire family busy.
Tim Hygh, Executive Director, Mackinac Island Visitors Bureau, is joining us. Tim, the other thing, you and I were talking about it offline the other day, weddings. Weddings are a big business on Mackinac Island. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we try to say we're the fudge capital of the world. We think, the wedding capital of at least the entire Midwest or Great Lakes. I mean, we are in the 24-hour wedding industry, kind of like Las Vegas. There's not a day that ends in Y that we don't have a wedding or two. And what's really cool about it is that we have our own island experts that really know the logistics of Mackinac. And so it's a great place to have a fairy tale wedding, that after your wedding that you're going to get into a horse and carriage and go through downtown. And hopefully one will come by today as we're doing the interview. And then everyone applauds the bride and groom as they're going through downtown. It is a magical place to have a wedding.
Well, people like it. I think, the bride and groom likes it, the family likes it. And then all the people that are the attendees of the wedding get a chance to come to Mackinac Island and make it a real special experience. And there's so many just amazing places on the island. So it works out really well.
It's just absolutely magical.
Tim Hygh joining us from Mackinac Island. What is one of Tim Hygh's secrets that people don't really know? I'm putting you on the spot here, or just something that you think is really special that maybe just kind of falls off the radar, something unique that people may not know, or a place to visit on Mackinac Island?
Well, I always say two things. Number one, September. That's the secret. That's the secret month. I mean, if you want to really enjoy the island in the best weather, with probably a few less people on the island, and maybe you might get some discounts because it's towards the end of the season, September is the best time, I think, to visit the island. Then the other place that, as far as a place to go that's really magical, and Dave, I don't know if you've been up to the top of the island to Fort Holmes, and from up there, you can take a picnic lunch, you can go into the rebuilt Fort Holmes, but at that point, your vista is St. Ignace, Mackinac Bridge, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Round Island, all these, it's just the entire expanse of the Straits of Mackinac. That is a place to really get a feel for where you are geographically, but then think about all the people that have been there throughout time, and the things that have happened up there. So it's a magical place that not many people go to.
All right. Well, we go to the fort, we go to the Grand Hotel, we walk through downtown, we ride our bikes around the island. But I appreciate you sharing that with me, because it is something different. Island is a little bit different than most of our tourist destinations in the state, especially those in northern Michigan, because yes, your season does wind down, but you're pretty busy. Your properties stay pretty busy right up to what we think is, the middle or end of October, when your season ends. And a lot of communities, they just kind of creep into the tourist season. They kind of creep out. I mean, at some level, Mackinac Island is busy every day it's open. Don't you think?
It is. Now, obviously, it is a bit seasonal, but through the last, say, dozen years, we have really marketed to the early part of the season and the latter part of the season, and people absolutely love it. It's an opportunity to enjoy the island, and when it's probably a little less busy than during our peak summer times. And again, especially in the fall, Dave, it's just, what it's September like is up here. It's just perfect weather-wise. Less humidity. The blues are a little bluer. The greens are a little greener. It's just a wonderful time to do it. So we will end up, we'll open up typically the first weekend in May, and typically close the last weekend in October. And we are, business is good through the entire 6 months.
Doesn't mean you can't jump on a ferry and come over in the middle of the winter, or a snowmobile over or whatever. But I mean, vast majority of your businesses are open through that season, and that makes sense. I know you're a busy guy. 2 more questions, and then I'll let you go. Last question, number 1. How's business on Mackinac Island? We all care, not just those of us that work in tourism, about our tourism economy. How's the summer been?
It's good. It's different. It's really looking more like 2019. Dave, as you know, and everyone knows, during the pandemic, people had a little more time and a little more flexibility to travel. So we saw new travelers, people that hadn't been to the island before over the last 2 years. We were extremely busy. This year, it looks more like 2019, and we've got some phone data that will also prove that as far as what the demographics look like. So day traffic is down a little bit. Rooms are on fire. Staying on Mackinac Island is still a very popular thing to do. So our room business is very good, and our daily, what we would call daily street traffic, is down just a hair, maybe 10%.
All right. Well, and all the people that have stayed overnight in the island will tell you that if you've not stayed overnight in the island, you're missing a bit of it, because there's just the whole vibe on the island changes in the evening after the last boat goes to Mackinac and St. Ignace.
It really does, Dave. There's in the day traffic, people that come just for the day are trying to accomplish A, B, C, D, and then get on the boat. That's a great fun experience. But for that experience to kind of stays in your soul for a long time, watching the sunset from Mackinac Island, down at the boardwalk, watch the sun go under the bridge, the Mackinac Bridge, or watch the sunrise from Mission Point Resort, that sticks with you for a long time. It's so peaceful, and it's good for the soul.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about having a cocktail at the Pink Pony at the end of the day. But
that's a whole nother topic. It's so much fun. Let's talk rum runners.
I can't remember my rum runner consumption. So finally, listen, folks, Tim Hygh is, one of the preeminent leaders of the tourism business in our state. And we have a huge opportunity for Michigan and a big event going on in Grand Rapids. I know you're heading down there soon. Tell everybody about that.
This is an event that the U.S. Travel Association puts on, and it's called ESTO. And basically, it's a training opportunity for all of the people in the destination marketing business, and people from all over the world will be there to learn how to better market and how to better manage your travel companies. So we'll have close to 800 people from all over the country in Grand Rapids for this prestigious event. And this is really the work of Dave Richards and the Grand Rapids Convention and Visitors Bureau. I said Dave Richards, I meant Dave Lorenz from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in Pure, Michigan, and all our friends at the Grand Rapids Convention and Visitors Bureau. They have been working on this an awful long time. It was supposed to be here in 2020, obviously it didn't happen. And so they had to put it to bed and they had to revive it. And we just cannot wait. Grand Rapids will be the perfect spot for this conference.
Absolutely. A little inside baseball here as we talk about DMOs and all that. But folks like you who promote tourism in our state and everywhere else around the country influence the people to make the decisions on where to go, the big groups, and then just literally everybody else. So it's really important work that you all do. And the fact that that organization decided to meet in little old Michigan, that's just what another big feather on our cap. Island of the year, the conference here in Michigan. Everyone's out having fun. I think it's the sunniest summer I can ever remember. What a year it's been, Tim Hygh.
We are so fortunate, and we don't take it for granted. I think that we learned that even more during the first part of the pandemic, and we don't take anything for granted. And we're so thankful to be here and it's just our turn to represent Mackinac Island right now.
All right, Tim, anything you want to promote? Website, phone numbers, podcasts, anything you want to mention on the way out?
Sure. How much time do you have? We've got Mackinac Island.
For Tim Hygh, as much as you want.
MackinacIsland.org to answer all your questions before you get here. A couple of neat things though, Dave. Title IX is 50 years old this year. And so to celebrate that, or to commemorate it, on August 20th, the CMU, Central Michigan University women's volleyball team is going to be competing against the Northern Michigan University volleyball team in our little gym on Mackinac Island. And that's open to everybody. So if you're interested in that, come on up on August 20th for that particular game. Then we've got our Fudge Festival coming up August 26th, and that's always fun. And we have something new this year. Our international employees tend to be great soccer players. So we're going to have a professional soccer match between our island employees and a downstate Detroit-based football club. So we can't wait for that. That's August 27th. And then we celebrate Halloween a week earlier than everybody else. So that weekend before the regular Halloween on the calendar, put your Mackinac Island Halloween on the calendar, and that's October 22nd.
Yeah, it's a big weekend and a lot of things go on all over the island. One of the highlights of that is when they light up the Grand Hotel in orange. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but just so many different fun things going on. Tim, thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it. I want to come to all those events. I have to work on my calendar here. Always a good time. Thank you very much for your hard work on behalf of all of us in travel in the state, and good to see you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
All right. Tim Hygh, the executive director of the Mackinac Island Tourism Bureau, right here on the Michigan Megacast. We are going to take a break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back once again to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Dave Scott. Tyler Kieft is out. Imagine that. He is out covering some sporting activities this hour, getting ready for the high school football season. And he had left me here for the hour. And what a pleasure it is to be with you today. I'm broadcasting from home, so that's why we got some of the odd lighting and configuration going on, but really good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us today, right here on the Michigan Megacast. Joining us now is Otie McKinley. He is the Media and Communications Manager for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Otie, good to have you with us here on the Megacast.
Dave, what a pleasure. So happy I could be here and chat with you while Tyler's left you to your own devices.
Yeah, well, every once in a while they let the boss, get on here and play around a little bit and have some fun. And I'm just sitting here at home at my kitchen table and having a nice conversation with you today. Well, a couple of people tune in. So thank you very much for being here with us. You're a frequent guest. And from the CEO's chair, I'll just tell you that we really appreciate a relationship with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and you and Dave Lorenz and everybody else have been so giving of your time, and we really appreciate it.
Well, we are very thankful that our partnership as well, and be able to spread the word about this great state.
All right. So, Tim Hygh, we just got off the line with Tim. I don't know if you heard any of our conversation with him a moment or two ago, but Mackinac Island, the island of the year, that's worth bringing up one more time, huh?
It is. How cool is that? Travel and Leisure just came out with that a couple of weeks ago now. But what an incredible location, what an incredible recognition of such a unique and wonderful destination that Michigan gets to call home to. We're very fortunate. There were a number of resorts on the island that also earned top honors. So it was a great announcement. I know Tim and the entire team up there is incredibly proud.
Well, we, all around our state of Michigan, we have so many things to highlight. We couldn't really even get to all of them, but other thing we mentioned, and again, another thing worth recapping, is this big tourism conference where we're marketing experts from all over the country who are promoting their communities. And we virtually every community, the small ones like Indian River, the big ones like Detroit and Grand Rapids of Michigan, they all have these convention and visitor bureaus to help promote the community and drive business. And, when someone travels to one of our communities, it drives businesses beyond just the hotels and the tourist destinations. So it's really good. But back to my point, that whole industry has decided to get together this week in Grand Rapids. Talk a little bit about that. That's great news.
Oh, the ESTO conference.
Yeah.
I will be in attendance, and this is my first ESTO conference, and I'm excited about all of the thought leaders and the educational ceremony, the educational trainings that's going to be going on for the week, the bulk of the week anyways, starting tomorrow. And it's going to bring in over 1,000 tourism professionals, and the coming together of that group is incredibly invaluable. And that's from a personal and a selfish perspective, quite honestly, to be able to take away the learnings and best use cases that other CVBs and tourism organizations are bringing to the table. But it is also a wonderful asset for the economy in downtown Grand Rapids, with all the people going to the small shops and the restaurants. The small business support is a very important ancillary benefactor of conferences like this.
Yeah, I'm in a related business with the rest of what I do. And I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, a week and a half ago, working on a conference down there for a little bit of my audio visual work. 99% of it I do in Michigan. Every once in a while I go somewhere else. So it's fun when I go somewhere else to see another state and how they do everything they're doing. And, they've said it, I've heard it from you guys, you and Lorenz and everybody here a million times, but to see it in action at a presentation down there, just talking about how important these events are, these conventions that come to our downtowns, because they just spill over, into every bar, into every restaurant, into every destination, every sightseeing point, and just, our entire downtowns, that injects so much money into the economy. And that's why you guys, continue to promote Michigan through all of your travel promotion of the state.
We do. And, Dave says it all the time. We are, to have the job that we do, we almost don't deserve it, because we're so lucky to be in a state that we love so much, and to be able to promote the different regions of it, from the western tip of the UP all the way down to Southeast Michigan and everywhere in between. You mentioned Indian River. I think kind of a little hidden gem. It's kind of an on the way city to get to the UP or to Mackinac Island. But I'm actually taking my wife and my niece up there camping this weekend. So we're excited about supporting that little small town.
Well, it's good. We just worked on their website and finished that for them, and they are very excited. It's just one of the smallest, marketing organizations in the state. And Indian River is a gem. I mean, the chain of lakes area, you're really going to enjoy yourself. You've got, all these lakes that connect from almost over by Petoskey into the Crooked Lake, the Crooked River, Burt Lake, Mullet Lake, all the way to Lake Huron in the Straits of Mackinac. And I'm telling you, Burt, Mullet, Crooked, these are some of the most beautiful lakes that you will find anywhere. And Indian River sits right in the heart of all that. You're going to have a great time.
We're looking forward to it. We actually go to Indian River 2 or 3 times a year because we think it is just such a great destination. There's so many options for activities. There's a great little food scene there.
There is.
So we love it. We're excited to get up there this weekend.
On the other end of the spectrum, we're coming back from COVID, and I think one of the biggest returns of this year has got to be the International Auto Show coming back to Detroit. Thank goodness it's finally here. Finally, we're able to reestablish the auto show, and really the first time ever that it's been during a time of year when there's not 3 feet of snow outside. How big is that to have that back this year?
Well, not unlike ESTO in Grand Rapids, the Detroit Auto Show happening this year is a huge boost to Detroit's economy. And coming out of the pandemic, the smaller towns, tourist destinations, the food and beverage industry, of course, that was disproportionately impacted. But the convention industry was a big loss for these larger urban areas. And so to be able to get them back into these cities, bringing in people, in this case, from all around the globe, during a time where people will be able to spend more time walking to destinations in weather that isn't January in Michigan. Although winter in Michigan is fantastic, it does limit the amount of places that people can walk to or choose to walk to. So, and this show is a whole new layout, a whole new program. So the industry is excited, the tourism industry is excited. I know Detroit and their organization is excited to have it back. And we always recommend people to go down there. And this year is going to be even more immersive during the public days. And so we're really looking forward to that happening.
People forget about, they don't really forget about it because like 500,000 people go to these events, but we talk about tourism. We're always talking about beaches and, and lakes. And, we got a great NASCAR thing going here in Michigan at MIS, and we're right in the heart of it. And that's just another one of those things that is really great to see come back strong post-COVID.
Absolutely. Anytime, any festival, even farmers markets, they're bringing people into an area that in larger numbers than may normally show up. And NASCAR is no different. Just like 2 weeks ago was the Rocket Mortgage Golf Tournament. LPGA Senior Tour golf events. The importance is invaluable.
Otie, I read the paper today. I don't know what event it is related to. That Jack Nicklaus is going to be here in Michigan too. So yeah, we're like right in the middle of everything. So I know you got some things on your plate. So I'm going to do something I always like to do as an interviewer. You've not been on with me before, but what I'm going to ask you to do, you ready? No, what's he going to do here? Ask yourself the next question. What is the number one thing that you want to talk about? So ask yourself the next question, and then if you would provide us an answer as well.
All right. How does tourism and the auto industry play hand in hand?
Well, see, I couldn't have said it better myself. How does tourism and the auto industry play hand in hand?
Well, both of them are incredibly important to the state of Michigan. And what we just announced this week, the governor announced in conjunction with the governors of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana, a Lake Michigan EV circuit. And so what that is these 4 states have partnered together to implement charging stations on the 1,100-mile loop around Lake Michigan. So these charging stations will be at wineries, breweries, shops, hotels, just all the way around the lake. And how that's important is as the auto industry is transitioning more and more into EV vehicles, how do we limit the range anxiety of an electric vehicle? And so if we can provide this loop of EV chargers, people can travel up and down the coast of Wisconsin, through Illinois, through Indiana, up the west coast of Michigan, and know that they've got the confidence to find chargers all along the way. So it really opens up a level of exposure to these small towns along the coastline that may not generally have a full infrastructure of charging stations. And so opening those communities up, it is just going to be an incredible boost to their economy. And it's going to introduce a lot of people to communities and shops and restaurants that they may not have participated in or gone through. If they're shooting up 131 on the west side of the state, get off 131, take the coast up. You go through just these charming communities, and now you don't have to worry about range anxiety.
Otie McKinley from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation with us. That's well said. Very important. That's great news for the state. Yeah, I mean, we do have range anxiety, and then you're thinking about going somewhere. And if you are going to take some time to charge your vehicle, why not, rather than do it somewhere that you don't really want to wait for a half an hour, why not go to like Sleeping Bear sand dunes and spend 4 hours there, or go to Grand Haven to the beach, or, spend the afternoon in Port Huron. I was in Port Huron last Saturday, and I just forgot how cool it is to sit there at the Blue Water Convention Center and Freighters. If you've not been there, by the way, really good. I know you have a really cool restaurant right in the river, and watch a Freighters roll by. So, having those charging stations in places like that, not somewhere that you got to spend a half an hour, 2 hours, somewhere that you want to.
Exactly.
I mean, it's brilliant. So that's great news.
Yeah, we just a couple of weeks ago, we unveiled the first charging station on the loop, and that was at the Holland State Park. So what a gorgeous place to hang out, have a picnic, spend time with your family. And that's what it's all about, is creating memories and creating experiences.
Otie McKinley with us from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and Travel Michigan. Joining us here as we're talking travel on the Michigan Megacast. Dave Scott in for Tyler Kieft. Tyler Kieft is out covering high school football. We'll see some great video from him on Monday. And let's talk a little bit about how we're doing this year. So, Michigan did pretty well last year. I think a lot of it, especially Northern Michigan, I heard from a lot of our tourist destinations, and a lot of it was in-state travel. Mm-hmm. Are we seeing that strong in-state travel again this year? And are we making progress with people that maybe have to travel a little bit further?
We are, right? Over the past 2 years, there has been this pent-up demand for people to travel. And with some of the challenges of traveling by air, a lot of road tripping is happening, a lot of regional tourism coming into the state. And, Northern Michigan is rebounding well. But we always think of, as you mentioned, we always think of tourism in Northern Michigan. And while that is an incredibly important part of Northern Michigan's economy, it is also our vibrant urban centers, the Detroits, Lansings, Saginaw's, Grand Rapids, where tourism to some people doesn't mean going to Detroit and spending a weekend in Detroit, but what a great city to spend some time in, with Eastern Market, in the culture, in the shows, in the food scene,
Absolutely.
In the history. It's often overlooked as a work city and not a destination city. And same thing with Grand Rapids, right? What a vibrant scene that is, and excited to be there this week for ESTO.
Well, and I think more and more people in our region, I think that's gone. I mean, if you live in Cleveland or Northern Ohio or Pittsburgh or Indianapolis or Chicago, Cincinnati, people in our region, they already know. No, Detroit's a fun place to go for a weekend. We're going to go there, maybe catch a Tigers and Lions game, watch our team when we're there, hit the casinos, go hit some restaurants. We have come so far. I don't know if this is the best story to tell, and we'll wrap things up here in a minute, but I like to think back. I think back to where Detroit was 25, 30 years ago. And I remember seeing this article, and I think it was in the news or the Free Press. And it was a picture, and I don't mean to say anything. I ride a motorcycle myself, so I'm not saying anything negative about guys who ride motorcycles. But the picture was a guy on a big old Harley wearing some leather, and his T-shirt said, "I'm so bad, I vacation in Detroit." And, and I think that's what people thought of our region 20, 25, 30 years ago. That is so gone. We are, not that we wouldn't encourage you to jump on your bike and come to Michigan and Detroit. We do. But, there's such a great experience. The Riverwalk in Detroit, and my lights are failing me. I'll fix it when we go to break. But all these great things are happening here in our area. So just really amazing environment that we have here. And thanks for listening to my little story there.
No, absolutely. It's a great story. And, one of the hardest things that Detroit is challenged with now is the city has outgrown the perception of what the city was. And it is a vibrant, lively downtown area. And it is not what I think a lot of people who aren't from Michigan think about when they think of Detroit.
Otie, thank you very much for joining us. I got to take a break. My batteries have worn out on my lights. One of the I guess shortcomings of working at home. I'll make an adjustment in a minute. Always good to be with you. It's so much fun talking tourism, and I appreciate you jumping on our program today.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, and have a fantastic weekend. And don't forget, your trip begins at Michigan.org.
Lorenz would be so proud of you. Thank you very much. We are going to take a break. I will be right back. Dave Scott in for Tyler Kieft, sitting here in the dark. We'll fix that in a moment. You are watching the Michigan Megacast.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Megacast. Dave Scott in for Tyler Kieft, broadcasting from my home studio today. And I thank you very much for joining us. It's a great Friday here in Michigan, and we have a great weekend ahead of us. I hope you get out and enjoy every minute of it. It's been a wonderful summer and so fun today to talk about all kinds of things going on in the tourism industry here in our state. But let's shift gears now and talk a little bit about an organization that is doing so much to help us out, Angels of Hope. And I'm reading from their information. Angels of Hope mission is to provide critical support to Michigan families directly impacted by cancer. Joining us now is Debbie Amatangelo, the board chairman of Angels of Hope. Debbie, good morning and welcome to the Megacast. Good to have you with us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Well, thank you. Did I get your name pronounced right? There's so many syllables here. Was I close?
You were pretty close.
All right.
For sure.
So tell us all about Angels of Hope. Let's hear it right from you and learn a little bit more about your organization and the fine work you do.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So we are a 100% volunteer nonprofit. We help Michigan-based families as they're fighting cancer. And we do things like pay mortgages, utilities, car payments, all the things that accompany a cancer diagnosis and add a level of stress that most people don't know exists. But a lot of times when people are going through treatment, they stop working, whether it be the child who has treatment and the parent is off work, or it's the parent who has cancer and is off work because they're just too sick after their treatment. So there's a financial aspect to a cancer diagnosis that really impacts so many Michigan families, and we step in to help them cover those, necessary bills so that they can focus on their fight and getting better, and not worry about, losing their home or having their lights turned off, not being able to get to and from treatment, things of that nature.
Well, Debbie, that's a wonderful mission and something that is so important because no one really plans to get sick. And, it's just not part of the way we work, okay? We try to prepare, do everything we can, but nobody really plans for it. And it's a handful just taking care of all of the medical considerations. Maybe you're taking more medications, going to the doctors, having so many things to do to make sure you're taking care of your care. Last thing you want to worry about is what's going on financially. And it always has an impact because maybe you're not at work anymore. So take us through, if you don't mind, how does this work? So somebody feels that they might be in need. Where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, so we have one requirement, and it's that there must be a minor child in the home. And also, we only help Michigan families, so I guess that's really two requirements. But if there is a minor child that's in the home and somebody in the family is diagnosed with cancer, we suggest that they reach out to their hospital social worker, nurse navigator, somebody along those lines, and they can help them through the application process. So we thoroughly vet everybody that we help just to make sure that there is a need there, and also that it's directly related to cancer and their diagnosis. So we try not to look just at their income level or what they have in the bank, because even if people do have a lot of money saved, we don't believe that you should have to go broke because you received a cancer diagnosis. So we treat each patient and each family individually. They'll work with their social worker or nurse navigator, some other hospital representative. They will apply for assistance from our foundation by submitting all of the necessary documentation. And then what we do, which I think is really different from a lot of other foundations, is we pay the creditor directly. So one, that takes the burden off of the family. They don't have to worry about making all of those payments. But two, it also helps us to maintain integrity from where our funds are going. And it makes sure that, if a mortgage payment is approved, the fund is actually used for a mortgage payment.
That is great. And the fact that you focus that in households where there is a minor child, that just makes it even more important to make sure those financial resources are there. It's great. Now, is your organization funded by donors, by government, through grants, all of the above?
It's pretty much donor. We are really grassroots. It started because our founding chairman, she was volunteering with another national organization, and she kept going out to lunch. She thought, who's paying for this lunch? Because I'm not paying for it. So what's happening here? And so she said, there's got to be a better way. There has to be a way for us to make sure that the dollars coming in are going back out where they're needed. So she started with a potluck in her basement. She raised $1,500 that first year. And now here we are, I think 17 or so years later, we are raising about $1.2 million a year, strictly word of mouth through our donor base. And because we are 100% volunteer, nobody takes a salary, and we have very low overhead. We don't have offices. We don't have, any of the stuff that accompanies a traditional business in addition to salaries. So about 98% of every dollar that's donated to Angels of Hope actually goes right back to helping Michigan families, because the only things we have are like, stamps and website hosting fees and things you kind of can't get around. But we do a very good job of keeping our expenses incredibly low so that we make sure all of our funds that are coming in through our loyal donors and local small businesses are doing the most good.
So in addition to providing financial support, Angels of Hope also has a program called the Smiles Program. What's that all about?
Mm-hmm. So that's where we pair with local photographers to take family photos. Unfortunately, not everybody wins their battle at the end of it. And we've heard from so many of our patients that, those times are very cherished and they're very sweet to your heart. And it's very easy to lose sight of the fact that you don't have anything but memories once somebody succumbs to the disease of cancer. So we partner with local photographers and take family photos and make sure that people have something to hold on to, whether or not the outcome is positive or unfortunately not. It makes sure that people can remember this time in their lives, have that, thing tangible to hold on with them going forward.
And again, just as you mentioned earlier, you're a 100% volunteer organization. That's right. That's really important, I think, to people right now to know that so many of the organizations that are doing great work, they have significant budgets. And not that one way is better than the other, but it's good to know the way you put your structure together. Does that create challenges, or do you want to talk a little bit about the way you folks have decided to run Angels of Hope?
It does, because, we all also have day jobs. I affectionately refer to this as my second job that I don't get paid for. But, I go to work every single day, and that helps me to live my life. And then I do all I do with Angels of Hope, and it really helps me to live what I call my purpose. So it's just a group of like-minded individuals. We're a board of 10. We put on two major events a year: our golf outing, which we just had, and our gala, which is in March, in Shelby Township. So we host those two events and kind of do all of the maintaining of the organization through that. But as you can imagine, it takes a lot of volunteers, which at times can be challenging because people have a lot going on in life, right? Especially now when most families are two working family households. And then, people do have their kids and their sports and all that jazz. So that's the hardest part, is getting volunteers to stay engaged throughout the different life cycle. But at the end of it, the 10 people that serve on my board all come from the same point of view. We all have the same heart, and we understand that by, giving the time we maybe don't have, we've been able to run this beautiful organization that has helped thousands of Michigan families, and that goes away the minute you hire somebody. So it's one of the things we're the most proud of, that we have never written a single paycheck in 17 plus years.
So you've got many levels that you need help. Obviously, you need people on your board to help guide your path and do the things that boards do, but you need day-to-day hands-on people as well. How would people reach out to you, and how do you reach out to them to get connected so you can find out about each other?
We post a lot on Facebook. We also work with Share Detroit. So we've got a profile up on their website that lists some of our available opportunities. And, we've really managed to do a lot of this via word of mouth. It's kind of crazy when you think about how connected the world is now. But, we talk to people, and I'll tell you, we actually had a family that her name is Alicia. And when her husband was going through cancer, they came to us. They received a grant. We helped them throughout their journey. Unfortunately, her husband did succumb to the disease. And we helped lay him to rest and provided funeral expenses for the family, and then sent their kids, or her and her children, to Frankenmuth for a weekend so they could start forming happy memories again once they were, ready to start moving forward with life. But I'll tell you now, here we sit, I think it's about 3 years later, and she recently represented us at a community event that the funds benefited Angels of Hope. And she has now become a volunteer of our foundation. So they come to us from all different ways, whether it was people who donated or people who have received help in the past, stumbled upon us on Facebook. Also, there's information on our website about some of the opportunities we have, and then of course, Share Detroit as well.
Well, that's a great story, and thank you for sharing that. And you know, I know people that volunteer and get involved in organizations such as yours get so much out of it. They meet people, probably relationships and marriages and long-term friendships have been built out of organizations like yours. So volunteering is really an awesome thing to do. Gives you some other things to do, helps you keep perspective in life, and they get an awful lot of good work done. So kudos to you, your organization, everybody involved for the good work you're doing. There must be something else that you would like people to know about. I like to ask every once in a while. If you had to ask yourself a question, on this show today, what would it be, and what do you think people need to know about that we might not have gotten to?
If there's one thing that I always preach is please make sure people know we exist. A lot of times when people are going through cancer treatment, they're worried and maybe they don't want to communicate it. And I'm sure you've seen it amongst your friends if you've got a Facebook page. People jump to starting a GoFundMe or something along those lines because everybody wants to help, but nobody really knows how when that happens. And the best thing that anyone could ever do for a foundation like ours is simply to make people aware that it exists, because you might have heard about it and then several years later when you actually need it, you filed it away and you don't pull back on it. So if ever you hear of a Michigan family that is diagnosed, please just let them know resources exist and we are here to help them. And they don't have to wait until the stress is burdensome for them. You know, a lot of times I have patients come to us and they don't come until after they are already past due on their electric bill because they had to decide which bills got paid. And unfortunately, that wasn't it. And now they're facing a shut-off situation. And you don't have to wait until it gets so heavy that you can't carry it. You can come to us from the beginning and we'll help you before it gets there.
Well, Debbie, thank you for filling us in today and in your fine work, and it sounds like a great organization. And just like a lot of other people, I wasn't too familiar, with your organization. So that's what this is about today, letting people know. We'll have you on again and make sure that we take this video today and spread it all over YouTube and the internet and everywhere we can so more people can be aware of your story. It's good work. Yeah, real quickly before we go, the social workers at the hospitals really do a good job. They've got a handful of helping people through these challenging times and being aware of all of the programs such as yours.
That's right. Yeah. And, they're as spread thin as anyone else right now, particularly with COVID. I know there's been a lot of downsizing. So it's absolutely a challenging role for them. And if you know a social worker, give them a hug because that is really hard and oftentimes, overlooked and maybe a little bit underappreciated work as well.
All right, Debbie, thank you very much for being with us. Very good to meet you. Website, phone number you want to hand out before we say so long?
Yep, www.angelsofhope.org. And thank you so much for having me today. It was wonderful to chat with you.
Nice to chat with you. Angelsofhope.org. And Debbie, good to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Have a good day. So an awful lot of fun to be here today on the Megacast in for Tyler. He gets to do this every day. I certainly enjoy the opportunity, even if I'm sitting here at my kitchen table at home, broadcasting with one light right now. Still a lot of fun. We hope you tune in and take advantage of the programming that we have here on all of our outlets, Civic Center TV, My Michigan TV, on the radio on Lakes FM and our other outlets to find out about things that are going on all over our community. I want to thank our entire crew. We don't normally have time to do this, but just want to thank our entire crew. They work tirelessly to put all of this programming together. It ain't easy. It takes a lot of work, and they really do an amazing job. And so I want to thank them, and I want to thank Tyler, who's usually here, Larry Nyland, of course, who produces a lot of the programming and books a lot of the guests. Does an amazing job, and we're really happy to have Erica Jones with us now. You'll be seeing her here. And of course, Calvin and Jared back in the control room doing an amazing job today, hitting all the buttons, getting all the guests on, and making all this happen. It, like I said, it isn't easy, and everyone works really hard at it, and we certainly appreciate everybody's work. So make sure you tune in on Monday. We'll all be back. You're going to have a great weekend. Thank you very much for checking out our program today. Monday morning, we'll be here, as the screen shows you, at 9:30 for the Splash Live. And then we get into the Megacast, the Michigan Megacast at 11 o'clock, and the Oakland County Megacast at 10 o'clock. It's 150 minutes of live television each and every day right here on Civic Center TV, and then our other outlets that we have available for you. So before I go, I just want to let you know that if you've not been to Civic Center TV's website, make sure you go there. You're going to find a lot of archives of all these interviews and all the guests that we've had. And if there's something you missed and you want to watch it again, that's a good place to go, as well as going to the My website, which is MyTV, MYMITV.com. And of course, you be sure to install the My Michigan TV app on your smartphone and your smart TV, and then you'll be able to very easily stay connected with us. So for the entire crew, thank you very much for joining us today. Have an excellent weekend. And on behalf of the entire crew, I'm Dave Scott saying so long and have a great weekend.